Hello, my wonderful people. I hope you all are doing good, taking care of yourselves, staying at home, and this is very important, taking precautionate measures. And this is what you have to follow literally. Don't think that this is the thing what I say every time, because I make people to remember all these things, all these stuff. So okay guys, so I'm on Instagram, Twitter. The links are given on the podcast show description. You're free to follow. I'm not like torturing or forcing anyone to do it, but you're free to follow. You can DM you can text me back, you can give your honest reviews, ideas, suggestions, so that it can be the betterment of the show and for myself. So in the previous episode, like, we were discussing about how do you get inspired. So this was a sort of a different thing, a tricky thing. It might be a tricky for some, it not be a tricky for some other group. So I think this is like a tricky question. So this episode was totally interesting, and episode number 1 was also totally interesting. So if you have not listened to these episodes, please go and listen to these episodes. This is quite interesting. So today's topic is going to be about how do you define yourself. So this is also a different thing, self-definition, identifying who you are, who the true person you are, and all these things. You get all these motivations out of stuff, so self-development stuff. So I thought, let me concentrate on this. How do you define yourself? So let's move on in today's topic. So this is a very interesting topic. So everyone struggles to find out who they are, who the true people are they. So how do you define yourself? Are you true, or you're true to yourself, or anything? So often when they define themselves, they focus on the negative or how they compare to other people. Definitely this happens. So nobody can define who you are or anything. Okay, you can't be defined by some other person. It's you who are going to define yourself, right? It's definitely you, only you. So here are some of the aspects or ways that you define yourself, and how do you make it positive. Now that's very important. More than negative thing, positive has more thing. Negative is also equal, but positive is very good. So the first thing what I think of is discovering your identity. Knowing yourself, discovering your identity, in that you have to know yourself, the first initial thing. If you know yourself, then you'll throw up. So you have a good definition about you, so that the people can understand who you are. So self-knowledge, particularly non-judgmental self-knowledge. You should not be judging yourself no, I can't do this, I can do that, not like that. You should not be judgmental, you should be non-judgmental in these things. Okay, you need to understand what makes you to tick, and what thought processes are before you can define you as a person. That's a very true thing. Okay, you have to know what defines you a true person. So this is one thing. Mindfulness means paying attention to what you are thinking and observing your patterns of thought, literally. So for instance, if you might realize that you have a tendency to feel that people don't care what you think, and that your opinions are unimportant. That's literally right. What I'm trying to say, you can understand, right? So recognizing that you have these thoughts and catching them before they start causing you anxiety can literally, it can help you to piece up together the important parts of your identity. So there's no you have to self-know, you have to know yourself. Then the next thing what I want to concentrate is notice how you identify yourself. So that's very important. So once you start paying attention to you, the way you think about yourself and about the world, specifically for the ways in which you identify yourself. You have to have a vision about yourself, how the world is or anything. You have to start identifying all these things. So seeing what groups and communities used to create your identity. Okay, all of these information, how you see yourself and tell what you are letting you define. Okay, so let's just take a small example. Look at things like religion, nationality, or your identity. And if these are ways you define yourself, obviously, how you define yourself. If you belong to a particular region, you belong to nationality, belong to sexuality, like that. So this is one thing. Then the third thing is what we have to do initially is jot down thought processes and self definitions, like how you define yourself and everything. So to become adept at seeing your thought processes and definitions, and see how these determine how you act and who you are. Okay, you have to write them down in your notebook as you identify them. Definitely this is a very easy thing. Jot down the points and thought processes. You'll be able to see how you consider yourself, and it will be easier to eliminate the negative associations. Okay. Now this is it's a different thing. This is all the processes which we go in identifying yourself. So create your own self definition. This is the third thing. Okay, so you record your negative definitions. First we were concentrating on the most positive part and everything. Now you see about your negative aspects, like recording them and paying attention to them will help you to let go of them. Yeah, so when we think of all these negative things and we note it down and jot it down, we tend to remove all these negative aspects and let go out of them. So getting them out in an open can help you to take away some of the hold on your mind and self. Okay, when this comes out, right, when you remove all these things, it'll take hold of you. Okay, don't limit yourself in negative ways. Definitely you should not limit. Okay, I can't do this, I'm not capable of doing this particular process or this particular work. You should not limit yourself. So identify your core values. This is one of the very important thing. Identifying your core values. You don't want to define yourself based on outside forces, like people judging you or anything. You should not be defining yourself like that. Okay, and are volatile and subject to constant change. Definitely that's important. So by basing your self-definition on core values, you may have a better chance of having a stable definition. Absolutely right. Okay, you won't lose a self-identity. Okay, if you base it on values you hold at your core, like compassion, courage, integrity, etc. Okay, so this is one of the things which you have to identify your core values. Define yourself in positive ways. So when we see people, when people start defining you, they have to define you in a positive way, and you have to throw up yourself to people in a positive way. So in positive aspects, so that people can they can socialize with you, they can feel free, they'll have a good interaction with you. Okay, so this means that don't let outside circumstances rule your identity. Literally, throwing a positive aspects, but you should not leave others to rule, or any circumstances or anything to rule out. So understand that the negative experiences in your life have offered knowledge. This is a very important thing. Understanding that the negative aspects, literally the negative aspects and the negative experiences in your life has offered you a very good knowledge. With that, you can know what's happening. So with this, we come to the end of how you define yourself. What are the points we have let us recap what are the points we have discussed. Knowing yourself, not being non-judgmental, then noticing how do you identify yourself, how you identify yourself, and jot down the thought processes and self definitions, and record your negative definitions, identify your core values, define yourself in positive ways. You see, these are the 5 important ways or 6 important ways that how do you define yourself, and how this works out. So I think this would have been a great episode. Literally, it's a very informative one. So do listen to this and do listen to the previous episodes, and enjoy your time, guys. So I think it's your DJ signing off from this episode, and we'll be back with a new episode very soon. Take care, guys. Bye bye.